Hello to all our listeners and viewers. We are today starting a new podcast in English on behalf of the family of the abducted soldiers and citizens from Israel. It's going to be a weekly photographed and broadcast podcast. Today is day 638 of the war and 638 days since 250 Israelis were abducted from their places of livelihood and from their places of living and from their military posts outside of Gaza. And they're being held hostages since then. At least 50 of them are now still being held in Gaza. We will hold a weekly discussion with the Hostage Family Forum. The Hostage Family Forum is a body that was established by the families of the abducted on October 7th, 2023, on the day of the massacre and the day of the biggest terror attack on Israel ever. And we kindly ask, let me say first that my name is Tal Schneider. I'm a political and diplomatic correspondent for the Times of Israel. We are all based here in Israel. And we kindly ask you, while watching this, that you use your power as citizens of the world to share the link to this episode and to do whatever you can do to help us bring all of the hostages home. It may be by raising awareness in your workplace or by attending rallies on your free time. It may be by sharing content on social media or just sending ideas to the forum on what else can be done. So it's very, very important while you're listening to this that you do everything in your power to help us bring those 50 people back home. Today, on our first episode, we will host Viki Cohen, the mother of a young Israeli soldier, Nimrod Cohen, who was taken to Gaza early on October 7th. He was, at the time of the abductment, he was a soldier for 10 months only and was very young, just 19-year-old. And he is being held in Gaza for 21 months in horrible conditions by the terrorists. And Viki, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I remember this, that Nimrod will turn 21 very soon. Is that right?
July 15.
So in a couple of days from now, Nimrod he was taken when he was 19 and he will turn 21.
Yeah. I hoped that we won't get to this date, the second birthday in the captivity, but unfortunately we're almost there.
And of course, Nimrod is, he has siblings and he has a twin sister who will also mark her 21st birthday next week. And you've been through this unimaginable situation last year when she marked her 20th and Nimrod was in captivity. Can you tell us about the twins, about their relationship?
When they were a little child, they were very connected. They spent many hours together playing Lego and Playmobil, and they have the same friends, and they were together in the classroom, and they were really very, very close each other, and they were also in the junior nature activity together, and they used to hike together with their friends in all over Israel. This is one of the picture that was taken in one of the trips together, and he loved it very much. The nature, to hike, to travel. And probably miss it very much. And we used to do it together also as a family. In holidays and on Saturdays, we used to go different places all over Israel together with Nimrod, Romy, and Yotam. He's the oldest son. He's 3 years older than them. and this is why they feel very connected and very like nature, and
Okay.
they feel so comfortable to be in nature.
So Nimrod has an elder brother named Yotam. He
Yeah,
is probably around 24, if I'm correct, right?
he's 24.
And the twin sister Romy, who will turn also 21
Yeah,
next week.
yeah.
And
She joined.
the five of you, the entire family, you, Viki, and your husband Yuda, are all engaged and are all working very, very hard to bring Nimrod back home.
Yeah,
Can you tell us
yeah.
what you do? What are you doing as citizens? What can you do?
Okay, first of all, Romy, the twin sister of Nimrod, she joined the army after Nimrod was kidnapped, and it was not. We did. It was almost obvious that she will join the army, even the difficult situation, because we feel that this is our country, this is our only country, and we will do everything for Israel. We love Israel, and we want to contribute and to do whatever we can. So it was not a question if she will join the army or not, but till she did it, it was on February 2024. She was together with us in fighting, and she went with my husband Yuda in many delegation abroad. And after she joined the army, and our oldest son Yotam released from the army, he replaced her, and together the three of us are doing these days everything we can. If it's making interviews in the local media or abroad, and delegations, broadcast, protest, everything we can. We meet many of the members of the coalition and ministers in the government. We do everything. It's like to get up in the morning and to go to work. It's the work is doing all this meeting, and it take us from us a lot of energy, and it's very difficult because it's a long journey. It's almost 2 years that we are doing every day all these kind of activities, and
Just day and night.
even though we
Because you don't sleep at night, which is probably very difficult on you and your husband. This
it's very
decision.
it's very difficult. Yeah.
Can you take us a little bit into the status of negotiation? Because today, Sunday in Israel, tomorrow, Monday, July 7th, we will have a meeting, an important meeting by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House with President Trump. And maybe if you're listening to this podcast on Monday or Tuesday, the meeting is being held as you hear this. And we are trying to figure out, obviously, there is huge support in Israel for the end of war in exchange for all hostages, all 50 of them, live and murdered. Can you take us a bit to what you know with respect to the status of negotiation as we speak?
Unfortunately, we don't really know exactly what's going on. We don't get information. We only got a message yesterday that says that a negotiation team is now in Qatar, even though there is a misagreement between the Israeli and Hamas about a few things. And the Hamas did make changes in the agreement that Israeli don't accept. So we don't know exactly what's going on, and for now, for this moment. But we heard that Israeli is agreed to the Witkoff agreement deal, Witkoff deal, that says that only part of the hostages will be released in the first phase of the deal, and after that there will be 60 days of negotiation, and maybe it's possible to expand it to make it longer. And I'm very worried about this agreement because it means that only a part of the hostages will be released, and the other ones will be left alone in a dangerous place for we don't know for how long, how many months, and I'm worried that Nimrod is a soldier, and maybe we left alone, and will be the last one to be returned. And I don't know when. I don't know when to expect his return. And I'm his mother. I won't like the other mothers that got their loved ones back home. I want to be all those in this position also. I miss him so much, and it's almost 2 years, and it's very difficult emotionally and physically to continue in this way.
What do we know about his physical situation? About, do we know if he's being held alone or if he's being held in a group? What do we know about his mental situation?
I know that because he was a soldier, he was tortured like the other soldiers, and he were held in very difficult conditions. I don't know what his condition for the time being. I know that from the people that were with him and came back, that he was very upset because he had a trauma on the day on the October 7 when he was taken brutally by the Hamas terrorist, and he saw the death of his friends in the tank. One of them is Omer Natra, he's the commander of the tank. The other one is Oz Daniel, and also Shaked Da'an, that was returned, and he was buried in Israel. And
so let's repeat it for our listeners, because in Israel, everybody, I think many people know the details, but in the United States maybe, or elsewhere around the world, they're not fully aware. It was one tank. All of the tank was severely attacked, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was heavily attacked by machinery and by terrorists and by RPG and so on. And from this entire tank, they killed everybody and then kidnapped Nimrod on his foot alive.
Yeah, we find out that Nimrod was kidnapped because the Hamas released on that Saturday, on October 7 at noontime, they released a video, and in the video we see the tank that it was burned, and we saw that Nimrod was taken out from the tank, and also his friends in the tank, and they throw him to the ground and drag him brutally. And we were shocked. I cannot find the words to explain what we felt on that moment. We saw it. I and my husband Yuda and his twin sister Omi. Yotam, the eldest son, he needed to go back to his base. So the three of us, we saw it on YouTube, and we were so scared and we were so shocked, and we didn't know what to do. We made contact. We called the IDF, and we tried to get information, and we sent them the video, and they didn't return to us for so many hours. We tried again and again to call, and nobody. It was chaos. It was only on a Sunday at midnight, and officers came to our house and tell us officially that Nimrod was kidnapped. and he's in Gaza. He was taken by Hamas terrorists.
And obviously, you mentioned Omer Natura, which is an American citizen, a lone soldier who became an officer, and he was Nimrod's commander in the tank, and he was killed that day. And you also mentioned, you didn't mention, but we also know about Idan Alexander, who was another soldier who was taken from the Golani Brigade. And you mentioned that Nimrod knew him, or
Yeah. First of all, they were together in the same base. It's called Abayit Alavan. It's about 2 kilometers from the border. And he met there Idan Alexander. And in captivity, they were together for 2 months. And I heard for his parents that he liked Nimrod so much, and is wishing to see him back and to hug him and to be with him, and he missed him so much. And
so
he's
Idan and Nimrod shared a space in captivity. I mean, a space is a nice word for probably a cell or something.
It was only in the beginning. It was 2 months in the beginning, and they were so upset when they separated them. And they change all the time. They move them from one tunnel to another one all the time because of the bombing of the Israeli army. So they change the position all the time. They change the people. So it was only in the beginning with the Idan Alexander.
And I just want to mention that Omer Natora obviously was killed on that day, but the Israeli people, public, and obviously the Family Hostage Forum demanding that all of the bodies of the people that were killed on October 7th will be returned to Israel as well. Obviously, leaving soldiers and citizens such as Nimrod are, top priority. But I just want to say that the Israeli public will not rest until we see all of them, including the American citizen Omer Natura. Of course, it's very, very important that people will understand this fight is going to go for I hope not long time, but we're not giving up on anyone. And obviously, we don't want to see the soldiers left behind. And Families Forum have, said many times that everybody needs to get back at the same time and not wait in all of those, the phasing. What can you tell us about that? Do you know anything?
First of all, I must mention that Nimrod is a soldier. He was sent there to be near the border by the order of the army. He was not there by because he chose to be there. This was his duty. He joined the army because he was an idealist. He wanted to protect the citizen and Israeli, the border, but he was sent there by the army, and the army and the government have the obligation to bring him back home. This is obvious, but all the 50 hostages must be brought home. The lived one, the one who are alive, and the one who are not alive, to bring them back for a respect barrier in Israel, and it must be done in all together, not in phases like the first deal, because it's very cruel to bring only part of them and to keep the other ones, the rest of them, be left alone in a dark and dangerous place. It's very cruel for them. It's cruel for us, the family, and the majority of the population here in Israel. They shout with us, bring them all back home. We need, so we in Israel, the people in Israel can recover from what happened to in October 7. We cannot recover unless they will be back home. We will start this to heal after they will come back to us.
Yeah, so the concept here is very, very strict and direct. No one should be left behind. No one. Not a soldier, and not a young person, and not someone who is just, was not wounded on that day. No one is left behind, because with 21 months their physical and mental situation is so bad. You cannot give up on anyone. It's just really important to understand that. And we hear President Trump says that he may go into this, the biggest deal of all, and he wants, he wants to get things moving in order to solve the situation, the entire situation in between Gaza and Israel, not just a partial deal. So we do, I mean, this is just, this little speech by me, but I just wanted to make sure that we get this message out saying, Israel, most of the Israelis support the biggest deal of all, or whatever they want to call it in the White House, it's fine. And, the President Trump spoke about reaching peace. And if you want to reach peace in the region, you need to bring all of them back home, from the youngest soldier, which I think is Nimrod, to the eldest person who was murdered in captivity and is still held there. I think it's Zalmanovich, 86 years old, who was captured. Can you imagine an 86-year-old person was murdered, taken, and still held by these terrorists? So all of them, have to be back home in order to achieve peace or a long-term solution.
I must say that we trust Trump, that he has the power and he has the ability to end this war in Gaza. It's a war that have no plan and no purpose, and it risk the hostages and risk the soldier, and we must end this war, especially after the war with Iran that was very successful for Israel. And we have a momentum, we have an opportunity now that we must take it and do the right thing to end the war. And I think that Trump is the one who can do it. And we put our trust in him because he wants to make, from his own interests even, he wants that it will end. He wants to make the Middle East a different place, a better place, with different agreement, and we need to join it. So I am hoping and I trust that he has the ability to pressure both sides, if Hamas and Israel, to do this agreement, and our prime minister will listen to him if he will pressure him to do this.
Viki, in Jewish halacha, in the Jewish tradition or the Jewish scripts, there is the concept of, I'll say it first in Hebrew. I'm pretty sure that some of our listeners will know, and then I'll say it in English. The concept of pidyon shvuim. It's a moral obligation to redemption of people that were taken into captivity. And this is a guiding moral concept, should be, for the Israeli people. You have to redeem the people that were taken captive. It may be the most important rule of halacha. And I was wondering, during this period of time, very, very long period of time, that you did not see your sweet boy, as we can see the photos of him here, did you talk to Israeli politicians or Israeli rabbis that are coming from this, from the coalition, and you were talking to their hearts and saying, pidyon shvuim, bring them all back? And what was their response?
First of all, of course, all the time, even from the beginning, we talked about this pidyon shvuim, and also the value of solidarity, that this Israeli is based on it, that we care for each other, and we won't leave back people. We will care and bring all of the hostages. It was also in the past, when we had hostages, all the prime minister did the agreement or did the action to bring them back home. Even in Gilad Shalit is when our government agreed to return so many prisoners to bring him back home, because there is no high price to save life. So it's not only Pidyon Shvuim, it's a value that this Israel is based on it. So, and of course, we met and spoke with many members of the coalition, even the extreme one that disagree about to make a deal. And they are still refuse to agree for this now. And these people, we cannot change their opinion. I'm talking about Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, and I hope that our prime minister won't listen to them, and he will decide it to be brave enough to do the right thing and to do whatever the whole society here wants. They want to see them back home. It's
And what about, did you talk to United Torah Judaism? I mean, we do know that these extremist ministers, their reasoning is because they think that by not making this compromise, they are protecting future, protecting the people from future terror attacks. But we do have, people who are orthodox in this government who understands what is Pidyon Shvuim, what is the redemption means to the core. Did you talk to them as well, to United Torah Judaism and to Shas?
I lately was in touch with some of the rabbis, and they all says that now it's the time to end this. Now it's the time to bring them back home. I think that the war against Iran, the success attack of Israel, make them feel that now it's more comfortable and more safe to end the war in Gaza. Even though we cannot defeat Hamas, we cannot defeat them, but they are in a condition that October 7 won't happen again. It happened because we didn't do the right things to avoid it, and we didn't did the right things that was needed to do. More soldiers in the borders, and I don't know, other things that it was possible to do. So I think it won't happen again if we'll be care enough, and that's all. It's depend on us.
Let's go back to Nimrod, because we know that Nimrod chose to be in the tanks, following his big brother steps. So he saw his big brother Yotam in the tanks, and then he chose to follow him. Is that right?
Yeah.
He wanted to be a soldier, and
he wanted to do something significant. He wanted to feel that he's doing something that has a value, that it's will really contribute to the army, and not just a job. And that's why he saw his brother, that also they were idealist as he is, and I educate them for the same values, to do things, whatever you do it 100%, and do something that's significant. And this is why he also joined the Shirion, and he was in, you see this picture, he was in the tank with the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you about it, about the Rubik's Cube, which you see in this beautiful photo. You see that Nimrod had that with him at all times, right?
It was a hobby for him. It's a favorite for him. And he used to take the Rubik's Cube wherever he went, with the meeting with friends, family, and also with the tank. And we saw in the other picture that you saw the Rubik cube that was in the tank that was burned, and we got this Rubik cube back to us. And I was so excited to see it because it was so close to him, and it's part of him
So,
that
yeah, I
is
just want
coming
to say,
back home.
so
It,
this
it
photo that we're seeing right now, this is the cube that was with him in this specific
yeah,
tank. You can see it's a little bit black on the
yeah,
sides
yeah, but
because
it's complete.
it
You
is
see that
completely
it's complete.
taken
Yeah,
from the tank.
yeah, yeah.
So
It came to us with many other personal stuff that they found in the base, and even his mobile was in the tank. The terrorist missed it, and luckily, and we got it back.
so you got this phone, his mobile phone, you got this cube that was his personal, thing that he was holding in his hands, everywhere, and he was playing with it. And you sort of use the cube as a symbol for Nimrod's, probably sophisticated mind, and for his ability to concentrate, and his the way he went, on when you stay in a tank, sometimes you have like dead hours, you cannot use your phone, but he used that to busy himself, right?
Yeah, yeah. They used to sit in the tank sometimes for so many hours, 15 hours and so many hours. So you are looking for something that you can do with your hands, or so this is one of the things that he discovered. Suddenly I saw him is in his room playing with a Rubik cube. I didn't know that it was something for the last 3 years. And he sat and learned the algorithm from the YouTube, and he bought himself a different kind of Rubik cube. There is a different shape of the uh,
As we can see in the photo.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is
So it's important
one
to understand that soldiers in Israel sometimes sit in tanks for 12 hours straight because they're watching the border. And
yeah.
Nimrod was watching the Gaza border on that night,
Yeah.
that morning.
and
That
and
was he
there
was
were,
doing when he was abducted.
yeah, and there was no a clue for what is going on that Saturday. The border was quiet. There was no something that will tell them, or no clue of what is going to be the next morning. Okay, so we talked in the last conversation with him was on October 6th. It was on Friday in the afternoon. We called him, me and my husband. We were walking with the dog, and we called him to say Shabbat Shalom. And he sounded very happy. He sat with one of his friends in the base. They were playing some game, and he was very pleased and happy. Sounds very happy.
Yeah, and it was a Saturday morning, and he was just 10 months into his military service, very, very young, a
Yeah.
child, my opinion, I mean, still at the age of 19. We go back to his, childhood, because Nimrod, as we earlier said in the conversation, was part of the Society for Protection of Nature in Israel, and he was participating in youth, in junior nature activity by the Jewish National Fund. Where did this come from? I mean, it was very much a big part of his childhood, almost up until the military. Where did this came from?
Uh, First of all, the three of my children, Nimrod, Omi, his sister, and Yotam, all of them joined this junior nature activity, and it's something very special. They meet every week for activity. Um, in some places, also in our city, we lived in Rehovot, but sometimes in a park or someplace else. And every 1 month or 1 month and a half, they used to go for a trip. And in long holidays, they did some long camp, like in the Sukkot or in Passover. And they were, it's a group of people, of young people that feel very comfortable each other, and they feel the connection to the views of Israeli, and there is a value behind these activities, like to keep the views, the parks that they are visiting clean. So one of the activities they made, they went together for one of the beaches, and they cleaned the beach. And
Wow.
clean it, yeah. And for so the turtles there, the small turtles, won't
Mhm.
eat the snakes and all the other garbage stuff that people used to live there.
Behind.
To live there.
Yeah.
So there is values behind these activities, and they felt that they are part of something very big and important.
So he was a kid on a mission. He
Yeah,
was a kid on a mission.
yeah.
And it's your entire family, because we see lots of you, your husband Yuda, and yourself and your son Yotam. We see them on the Israeli media at all times, and we can see how precious and how, family with merits. And it's important to know that you are, such an important part of this society. And I think for our listeners, I would just say that we have about 70% of the Israeli public who support end of the war in exchange for whole hostages, all of them. It's 20 people that are considered to be alive, maybe 21, we don't know for sure, and the rest of them were murdered. As I said, the eldest of them is 86, was 86 at the time when he was murdered and kidnapped into Gaza, and he's still being held there. But we want all of the hostages, obviously top priorities for the living one. Viki, many people were listening to this call are asking themselves, and this is something I get in all of those Zooms that we are conducting and all of the events, people are saying, please tell me, what can I do? I sit, maybe I'm in Orange County, maybe I'm in Canada, or I'm in Australia, or I'm sitting in the Midwest of the United States or in Florida. I mean, there's plenty of places, people who support you and support Israel and support Nimrod, and they want to see your kid out. And definitely we all want to see that very, very soon. So what do you think they can do to
Okay.
help on that mission?
First of all, it's a very good question because I met and I'm meeting so many people, also abroad and here in Israel, that they say we are praying that Nimrod will be brought home and the other hostages, and I'm all the time tell them that I'm grateful that they are doing this, and I appreciate it. But to pray, it's not enough. We need to be we need to do actions. We need to be more active to show the support, and everyone can choose the way he feels that it's comfortable for him. If it's to go out in the streets to protest, if it's through the media, in the Instagram, in the Twitter, in the Facebook, to talk about the hostages, to show their picture, to tell about them, to do something. This is something active, not only in praying, because it's good that we are doing and praying. And I'm not a religious person, but I pray also. But I'm also doing actions. I'm doing things. We need to show to the universe that we are doing. And I think that everyone can choose for himself what is suitable for him
So
to
let me
do.
suggest, first step, all of the people who are on this very important podcast with you, and as I said at the beginning, this is just first in the series. We hope to do it once a week. I mean, we hope not to do it at all. We want everybody home, but as long as we in this fight, we bring more people to you. But one suggestion I can put right now is, if you're on this, conversation and you're listening to us, please share it. Share it, this specific conversation. You can share it on your Twitter account or your X account, I'm sorry, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. You can send it to your friends through WhatsApp or through email. Just let the world know what we are facing here. It's a very young boy who was abducted on October 7th, very early, and he needs to go back to his mother and father and sister and brother. It's very, very important. So we want Nimrod back home. And I think also you can write to your congressman or write to your local representative, get engaged, go walk or drive to a rally, and you can, get the sign in with Nimrod, beautiful face, with this kid who was trying to protect his country. So you can carry his, image on a rally. And you can, if you have any suggestions for us for the family forum, you can write and tell us what you think can be done more to advance this cause. Of course, you can write letters to the editors, you can write letters to your congressman, and so on. So Viki, I was trying to figure out if I have questions from the audience. I'm not sure I can see them. So if you folks who are listening are now asking those questions, I'm sorry that I'm unable to read all of them, but maybe on our next podcast, we will improve and bring the questions from the audience. Do you want to have a closing sentence, a closing statement?
First of all, I want to thank to all these wonderful people that are with us and show the solidarity and support, and they are coming to be with us wherever you go, and in the streets, in the protest. We hear they are saying all the time, you are not alone, we are with you, and it's give us a lot of strength to continue. So I'm asking, not don't stop doing it, and be with us till my son Nimrod and the whole hostages will be back home. And thank you for everything.
Thank you, Vicky. And we hope maybe Nimrod can see some of the things that his wonderful family is doing. Some of the hostages were able to watch little bit of bits of news here and there, and they saw maybe the signs in the streets, they saw the protests. So we hope that maybe he could have seen you, and we are all looking forward to see you hug him. That's the most, and kiss him, of course, and let this be very, very, very soon. And for our audience, we will be here next week with another episode of this podcast from the Family Hostages Forum. And I suppose this is a thank you, Vicky. Thank you.
Thank you.